Hello and welcome to another episode of Learning to Live in the Present Moment. My name is Ted Robinson and I'm your host today. Today we're going to be talking about, as you know, presence and learning to live in the present moment. And I think the most difficult part of that is most people don't know what it means. They don't even know who they are. And they don't know how to become more identified with who they are than who they think they are. Because, our ego keeps us identified with our shape, our size, our appearance, our belongings, our titles, who we think we are, but not with who we are. And there's a reason for that, by the way. The ego likes to be in control. It needs to be in control. It feels it has to stay in control at all times in order to protect us. But that's not really the truth. It's just our illusion of the truth. Because you see, you are not your body, you're not your possessions, you're not your titles or your degrees, you're not your job title or anything of that nature. You're not even a mother or a father. You are a soul come to earth to learn certain things. And you do that by having experiences in this lifetime, in this density we call life, where you can touch it, feel it, be it, so to speak. But the fact of the matter is that you and I are souls. And instead of having a body or being a body that has a soul, we're a soul that inhabits a body. I think that helps to sort of understand it better, because when you realize that you're a soul and not just this body, then things become easier to understand. Presence becomes easier to understand, and the ego is easier to see in all its glory, trying to protect you. But while the ego tries to protect you, it also tries to take over control of your whole life. And that's where most people get into trouble. Most people have problems. And that's what we're going to be addressing today. So, if you're a soul, the best part to remember is that you're immortal. You're here forever. Not just this lifetime. You're here ad infinitum. Because you're part of God. We're all part of God. Even this body is part of God. But there's a direct connection with your soul to God, the angels, whatever you want to call them, entities. They're all out there in a less dense form. And your soul can be directly connected with that at all times. In fact, it more than likely is. So, what does all this mean to us? It means that we are here to stay. And all we're doing in this lifetime is having experience after experience after experience, from which we learn certain things that we cannot learn in the less dense atmosphere or environment of being a soul or a spirit alone. So when we come down here or up here or from wherever we come to become these, to inhabit these bodies, we choose the parents we have, we choose our certain circumstances, and life then evolves for us to teach us lessons. If we need to learn humility, we're likely to be embarrassed a lot or humiliated a lot. If we want to learn to be arrogant and see what that feels like so we can not want to feel that again, then life will give us things to feel arrogant about. But all of these things are just experiences that our soul wants to experience in one way or another so that it can learn, so that it can have life experiences from which it can grow in its overall soul's experience. Now, what would the purpose of that be? Well, the soul wants to really experience everything. So in every lifetime, and I believe we come back time and time and time again, as long as we choose to come back, we can come back here. But the purpose of coming back is different for most of us. It varies for each of us. And lifetime after lifetime, things may change due to experiences in a prior lifetime or even more than one lifetime ago. So whatever we do, and that comes down to karma, by the way, whatever we do to another, we are destined to experience having done to us. So if we make somebody really angry and upset with us, then we're going to have somebody we're going to get angry and upset about because of something they did to us. However, the other side of the coin works as well. If you've been very loving towards somebody and they feel the love, they really experience love as a result of what you've done, so to speak, to them, then you'll have that experience too. It's the old adage, a street adage, what comes round goes round, or what goes round comes round. It's all the same. So if you put it out there, it's going to come back. Now, it might not come back right away. You might say, oh, shucks, I put that out there so I'd get it back. That's the problem. You can't be attached to it. That would be the ego setting goals. But if you just put it out there, put whatever you want to put out, whatever what you feel you should put out to the universe, meaning, it's going to come back to you in this lifetime or some other time to your soul. That's how it works. That's the karmic law, so to speak. And the idea here is just so you get experiences. From these experiences, we learn. You learn. I learn. And we learn what it feels like to do what we've done to another. And as a result of that, we learn to either do more of that or not do that again. Because I don't like what I got back. I'll never do that again. Whatever works for you is what matters. That's all. Whatever works for your soul is all that matters. So, that's the first part of the equation. The next part is, what are we doing here? What are we here on earth to do? Well, we have two things. One thing is our inner purpose, and then we have an outer purpose. We all share the same inner purpose, and that inner purpose is to awaken and to bring consciousness to the world, to awaken from our ego's hold on us and become conscious of everything. That's our inner purpose. Now, everybody's at a different stage of awakening. Everybody's learning different things at different times. So some people might be learning one thing, another person be learning another. All of it, however, is for the purpose of ultimately awakening, becoming awake. Now, to become awake means to be aware or conscious of what's going on, not to get embroiled in goal setting and having to do all the time and having to look just so or having to own things. But who are you? Who have you become? And how do you become all that you can be, which would be awakening in consciousness? When you do awaken, you have choices at that point. You can stay around and enjoy it here. You can leave, or you can stay and help others. Or you can come back from spirit and help others to awaken as well. All these things are available to you. In fact, a whole plethora of options are available to you. It's up to you, whatever you choose to do. And I'll go into that at another time. However, the whole point of being here is to awaken. And each person is awakening at different stages. And each of us can help the other because each of us has something to offer everybody else about the awakening process. So nobody's any better, nobody's any worse. We're all just awakening at different paces and at different stages of self-evolution or remembrance of who we are. Now, the other part of it is our outer purpose. Our outer purpose is what we do in life. You might be a banker or a doctor or a bricklayer or a ditch digger or a mother or a father. You might be anything. And you might want to do those things fully, or you might want to change your outer purpose. Because as we change our lives, our outer purposes change with them. And so when that happens, we might go from being a homemaker or a mother to being a teacher, or vice versa. These are just our outer purpose in life and what we do. Now, the important thing to remember, however, is how can you correlate your outer purpose with your inner purpose and get the two of them to go in the same direction at once. That is really the key to life. That's when you'll really find changes occurring in your life. And that's going to be really, really great for you when it happens. But how do you make it happen? Well, the best way to do it is to become conscious of your goal setting, conscious of your need for speed, as they say, your need to excel or accelerate your life all the time, your need to win, your need to accumulate objects or ownership of things. All of these things are not you. I was reading an interesting story in Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, and I probably mentioned it quite a bit during the show, because I think it's really a real source for everyone who wants to awaken. It's just a great book. But he was talking about a woman who had lost a ring. And I'm going to tell you all about that woman in just a moment. So don't go away. I'll be right back to tell you the whole story of the lost ring. Don't go away. And welcome back. So Eckhart was talking about a woman who had lost her diamond ring. And she had late stage cancer. She was about to die. But it really disturbed her because she focused all of her attention on a woman who was taking care of her, who was, her caretaker at the time. And she said, how could this woman do such a thing to me, especially when I'm suffering from cancer? And Eckhart asked 3 questions, which I'm going to read to you because I think they're important to get right. It says, do you realize that you will have to let go of the ring at some point, perhaps quite soon? And he asked her not to answer the questions right away, but to contemplate them. How much more time do you need before you will be ready to let go of it, the ring? And here were the telling questions. Will you become less when you let go of it? Has who you are become diminished by the loss? The woman took a few moments and suddenly her eyes brightened and she said, I get it. First off, I'm going to die anyway. It doesn't matter. Whereas before, she was saying, that was my grandmother's ring. It meant a great deal to me. I used to wear it. And suddenly she realized it didn't matter. But more importantly, she realized, when am I going to let go of it anyway? I'm dying of cancer. I'm not going to have it. I can't take it with me. It doesn't really matter. But then she realized, it doesn't diminish me by losing it. The who I am is intact no matter what. And the beauty of the story is who I am has nothing to do with the ring or even her body. Who she is, who you are, who I am, is a soul that is immortal, that's here forever, that will be here forever if it chooses. You're immortal. And the things that you attach yourself to, the things that you become attached to, are just things. Now, that doesn't mean you can't enjoy ownership of things and taking care of them and polishing them up and being proud of them. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is they are not you. And if you identify with the things that you own, you become them instead of them just being another artifact of what you own. Of course, you can let go of all the things you own, and it will not change who you are at all. That's right. Can you imagine letting go of everything you own? Can you? Would that change who you are? Or would you still be the same person, the same soul you are now? kind of an interesting thought, isn't it? If I gave everything up right now, would I still be me? As I reflect upon it, I'd say yes. Would things be different? Of course. But I would be me, and you would be you. This is a great exercise to just contemplate because it shows you, or it demonstrates clearly, who we have become. How much attachment we have to our belongings. How much attachment we have to holding on to our belongings. And what they mean to us. In reality, who are you? You are a soul. A soul comes to earth with nothing. Nothing physical, at least. Comes to earth with a great deal of background many times. A great deal of experience. A great deal of wisdom. You've met children that are wise beyond their years, haven't you? But nothing physical. So, if you're a soul inhabiting this body, what's truly important to you? What is really important and what's real? The only thing that's really real for all souls is the experiences you have and the life lessons you learn. And the way you do that is by recognizing when you are attached to your things, your belongings, or as George Carlin used to say, your stuff. You know how many people, there's an entire industry just built around people's stuff. You know, all those storage facilities where people put their stuff and pay $100 or up to $300 or more dollars a month to keep their stuff. And then you watch these shows where they go through those things and it's just garbage half the time. But it was so important to them because they were so identified with it that it mattered to them so much that they would pay that kind of money for a storage unit just to keep it. So at some point, will you recognize what's truly important to you? Because what that is these experiences. What that is becoming aware of your ego's attachment to things in life, attachment to the outcome of things in life, attachment to being in control in life, and all of those things keep you from truly being you, which is just a simple soul, an immortal soul that's in direct connection with God at all times. What a thought. That means that when you're in presence, you have direct knowing of everything in the universe. And that's a really cool place to be. And the only way to do that is to quiet the ego mind down enough to get there. And when you do that, it becomes normal to be present. This is why I keep talking about learning to live in the present moment. And all I'm talking about in every one of these shows is little aspects of the whole total picture. Because it's a total picture. But at its core, at the core of the whole picture of our lives, every one of our lives, is presence. Quieting the conscious mind and becoming present. And as you do that, as you become present, you become aware of the ego. Its attachments, its angers, its resentments, its being stuck in the past or the future, its judgments, its control. You become aware of all that and start to see all the things you've done all your life at the behest of the ego, when in reality you are a soul. And you are far more powerful, far more all-knowing than the ego could ever be. Yet we hang on so tightly. We hang on like it's life itself to the ego and all of its needs, all of its demands, all of its goals, instead of just accepting who we are. A present soul right here, right now, on earth here to learn experiences. Now, those experiences, by the way, are all based on the ego because that's how we gain our life lessons, through dealing with the issues of the ego. But the idea is to get beyond the ego, to move beyond it, to eclipse it, go beyond the ego. And once you do, you suddenly become conscious. You suddenly become aware. And now you can see the ego for what it is and what it's doing at all times. When that happens, you have awakened, if only for that moment that you're in presence. But that's not bad. It's a great place to start, a great place to be. So, my suggestion is become aware. Ask if the things you own you're attached to. Ask within. See if somebody took something from you, if it would matter as to who you are, if it would change who you are. And then start to see the attachment you have to the things that you own, the things that you want, the things that you think. Because all of it is just a moment in time. It will pass. But the one thing that's immortal is your soul, who you are. And that part is immortal forever. So just consider that. Every little thing that happens in life is here just to be a lesson. And everything will pass. You ever hear the words, this too will pass? That's what it means. This too will pass. Everything is just coming and going through our lives. But the one thing that's here at all times is our soul. And presence is the key to being in our soul. And when you're there, suddenly, everything gets joyous, everything gets quiet, and you suddenly can see very, very clearly who you are. You're not this body, you're not this mind, you're not your possessions or your titles. You just are. You're here. I am. And that's what it's all about. So, I hope this has been helpful to you. I just want to remind you that every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, we have a borrowing benefits group here at our Center for Inner Healing, which is located at 26 St. Paul's Place in Hempstead, New York. And the zip on that is 11550 if you're looking to come here by GPS. And every Sunday night, we have a Tapathon, which is an EFT borrowing benefits group on the telephone. We're going to be moving that to Google Plus soon, so watch our announcements on our newsletter. And if you're not part of our newsletter, please make sure you become part of our email list, because we send out announcements. We send out these shows sometimes and articles to go with them, which I think are very helpful. At least that's what people that read them tell me. So you're entitled and willing, and we're willing to share all these things for free with you, because we just want to share learning to live in the present moment. Because when we share that, others get it, and we expand the consciousness, we expand the awareness, and the world improves. That's all it comes down to. It all improves. I hope this has been helpful to you today. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time, same place, as we learn to live in the present moment together. Bye-bye.